जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय विश्वपाद परमहंस प्रचकाचार्य श्रद्धर सच्ची श्रीमद हिस्ट्री इसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रचकाचार्य श्रद्धर श्री श्रीमद श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंदा की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा की श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय कलिग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंद all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to Shri Guru Vansh Prabhu Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1st, chapter 9, the passing away of Bhishma Dev, text 24. Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshataam Kalevaram Yavat Idam Hinomyaham Prasannaha Saruna Lochanollas Mukhambujo Dhyana Pathas Chaturbhuja Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshataam Kalevaram Yavadidam Hinomyaham Prasannaha Saruna Lochanollasam Mukhambujo Dhyana Pathas Chaturbhuja Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshataam Kalevaram Yavad Idam Hinomyaham Prasannaha Saruna Lochanollasam Mukhambujo Dhyana Pathas Chaturbhuja. Anyone? It's Mataji. So I read word by word meaning. Kindly repeat. Saha He Deva Deva, the Supreme Lord of the Lords. Bhagavan, the Personality of Godhead. Pratikshatam, may kindly wait. Kalevaram, body. Yavat, as long as. Idam, this material body. Hinomi, make quit. Aham, I. Prasanna, cheerful. Hasa, smiling. Arunalochana, eyes red like the morning sun. Ullasad, beautifully decorated. Mukha Ambuja, the lotus flower of his face. Dhyanapatha, in the path of my meditation. Chaturbhuja, the four-handed form of Narayan, the worshipable deity of Bhishma Dev. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. May my Lord, who is four-handed and whose beautifully decorated lotus face, with eyes as red as the rising sun, is smiling, kindly await me at that moment when I quit this material body. Purport. Bhishma Dev knew well that Lord Krishna is the original Narayan. His worshipable deity was four-handed Narayan. But he knew that four-handed Narayan is a plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. Indirectly, he desired Lord Sri Krishna to manifest himself in his four-handed feature of Narayan. A Vaishnava is always humble in his behavior. Although it was 100% certain that Bhishma Deva was approaching Vaikuntha Dham just after leaving his mortal body, still, as a humble Vaishnava, he desired to see the beautiful face of the Lord, for after quitting the present body, he might not be in a position to see the Lord anymore. A Vaishnava is not puffed up. Although the Lord guarantees his pure devotee entrance into his abode, here Bhishma Deva says, as long as I do not quit this body, this means that the great general would quit the body by his own will. He was not being forced by the laws of nature. He was so powerful that he could stay in this body as long as he desired. He got this benediction from his father. He desired that the Lord stay before him in his four-handed Narayana feature so that he might concentrate upon him and thus be in trance in that meditation. When his mind might be sanctified, then his mind might be sanctified with thinking of the Lord. Thus he did not mind wherever he might go. A pure devotee is never anxious to go back to kingdom of God. He entirely depends on the goodwill of the Lord. He is equally satisfied even if the Lord desires him to go to hell. The only desire that a pure devotee entertains is that he may always be in rapt attention with thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord, regardless. Bhishma Deva wanted this much only, that his mind be absorbed in thinking of the Lord and that he pass away thus. That is the highest ambition of a pure devotee. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhobhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we can see that how Bhishma Dev, who is on the bed of arrows, at his final moments, he is welcoming the Supreme Lord, Pandavas, and he wants to meditate on the lotus face, the smiling face of the Lord. I can also see a lot of smiling faces, even new faces. So these moments are very, very important, the final moments. Bhishma Deva, as we have been hearing the last so many, maybe more than a month, how he fought and how he was, Arjuna, he had to shoot those arrows. And he is now going to leave body very soon, because he had some final discussions to be made with Yudhishthir Maharaj. And Krishna, he knew the heart of Bhishma Dev. And he timed it very properly. Exactly when he needed Bhishma Deva, when he wanted, when Uttarana has just passed, maybe just before that they had arrived, so that he doesn't get delayed. He can leave at his will at the very auspicious time. Uttarayana, I think somebody was explaining very scientifically, our Prem Gaurang Prabhu very nicely explained why so many days he was waiting, and normally the Uttarayana happens around mid-January. And after that also still he was waiting. And maybe more than 56 or 58 days he was on that bed of arrows. And we can understand the situation of Bhishma Dev, what he must be going through. He was going through tremendous kind of course, physical pain was there, but maybe by this time he had overcome that. And why? Because he was so much absorbed in thinking about the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord, His face, and we can see that this situation of fighting with Krishna, Bhishma was fighting with Krishna, Arjuna, and when he was instigated by Duryodhana, Duryodhana had that kind of special ability of acupressure, kind of pressing the proper nerve by which person suddenly changes his behavior. He goes into a different level and starts behaving in a very, very active way or something like that. And he had that kind of motives. We can understand that Duryodhana, he was very expert in using people, right? Although Drona, Bhishma, they were like elders. They were so many. They were like grandfathers. They were grandfathers for Duryodhana, Dushasana, Arjuna. But he put them on the task. He didn't think that they should be spared. They are old people. They should not be in the fight. But he didn't think about that. He just was focused on getting his things done. So we can imagine what turmoil he was going through. Bhishma Dev, as a general, as a warrior, he had to fight for Kauravas, right? Because so many years he was kind of staying in their palace, and he was obliged in that sense to fight for Kauravas and fight against Pandavas. And when he was instigated Duryodhana, that he was kind of soft-hearted, he was fighting, but was not with his full fury. That time when Duryodhana instigated him, he told him that tomorrow you will be victorious. And he started fighting like anything. That day's fight, we cannot imagine what was happening. He was with his complete power, shooting arrows. His chariot was running in the battlefield. So many arrows he was shooting and killing people single-handedly. The sounds of these arrows were reverberating in the sky. The chariots were breaking. Horses, elephants were dying, screaming. So much tumultuous sound was going on. And he was like Hurricane Bhishma. He was like a hurricane, just moving around in the battlefield. And he was so invincible. Nobody was able to face him. Nobody was able to go in front of him to fight with him. It was absolutely impossible for Pandavas to do anything. Because he was he had come to his different level, provoking situations, say, the greatness of a personality has to be estimated by his ability to tolerate provoking situations. That is the greatness of a personality. Great people, they don't get provoked so easily, right? They tolerate a lot. And sometimes devotees want to test each other, how much they can tolerate. And they keep poking, pinching, pulling, right? But still, devotees sometimes keep quiet. But sometimes, when it becomes really extreme, then really they backlash. But Bhishma was very, very tolerant. He was, throughout his life, in fact, he was tolerating so many insults, and he was watching all these conspiracies going behind Pandavas' backs. And still, he must have gone through a lot of mental tribulation. But he was also provoked at that time by Duryodhana, and he wanted to prove that how he is still loyal. He is not giving up his Kshatriya spirit. What he has taken the side of Kauravas, so he will fight with his full fury. And at the same time, he, as a devotee of the Lord, he knew that Krishna will reciprocate with him. Because only Krishna can at that time intervene. And he wanted to see that form of the Lord. Krishna had taken the promise. He had vowed that he will not take any weapon in his hand. Right? He was just a chariot driver. Nobody could estimate the power of Krishna. What is the power of Krishna? Nobody could estimate. Kauravas especially, they thought that he was a Vaishya. He's a coward boy. He used to steal butter when he was a child. He used to steal the garments of the gopis, and so many ways their intelligence was bewildered. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrata. I covered myself with my yogamaya, my internal potency, and I do not reveal to everyone. Only those who are very sincere, devoted to me, only they can understand. So although Lord Krishna was personally present, not everyone could understand him. Very few. As we can see, Pandavas, they understood. Kunti Maharani, she understood. Vidura, Bhishmadev also, he had that devotion, and he realized, he connected with the Supreme Lord, that this Krishna, who is Yadava, he is the Supreme Lord. He appears to be very ordinary, but by whose will everything is moving in this material world. His impersonal aspect of time is so powerful. It changes everything in this material world. And he has come now in front of me. And we have heard and visualized, also seen few weeks before when Radha Gopinath Prabhu was narrating this story. It was like complete 3D movie happening in front of your eyes. Bhishmadeva fighting, Krishna. Krishna also loses his temper, right? He also gets provoked at this time because it's a different level. We cannot understand how Krishna can be angry. Krishna is so tolerant. He is a source of all tolerance. How he can be angry? But Krishna can reciprocate with his devotees through that anger. And nobody can understand, only devotee can understand. Everyone else may think that, oh, Krishna became angry. He broke his promise. He lifted chariot wheel. That is externally one may think. But Krishna also knew that I have to fulfill the desire of my devotee, who has been waiting for this moment for me to become angry. And he is my devotee ultimately. I have to fulfill his desire. And we can see that how Krishna, he jumps off the chariot. He had whips in his hand, one hand, and other hand he has reins of the horses. He's driving the chariot, and they were in difficulty. Arjuna and Krishna were in difficulty because they were not able to face Bhishma. He was like a big tornado moving around and killing, all swiping out people, like sabji cutting. Right? Sometimes we do sabji cutting, cut. During yatras we have a mega kitchen, right? So many devotees are deployed to make the sabji cutting. Sound from thak. And so many devotees are required to cut 100 kgs of sabji, right? So we can imagine the amount of people getting killed by one person. Right? Today's machine guns may be not sufficient. With that speed, he was shooting arrows. Can we imagine the fury of Bhishma Dev on that day? And Krishna also understood that he is unstoppable now. Nobody can stop him. And at that time, Krishna, he really becomes angry. He's not exhibiting external, he really becomes angry. Because his mission is Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujami paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna came to establish dharma. Here, Bhishma Deva also was so conversant with dharma. He, Yudhishthir, Mara, they were like personified dharma. And if Yudhishthir or Pandavas lose on this day, how can Krishna establish dharma? Right? Krishna had that mission. No? So he had killed so many demons in his childhood and so many other things that happened. But this was a special battle. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. It begins with dharma. The word dharma, it begins with Dhritarashtra Vacha. So Krishna's mission was to establish dharma. And he is now in difficulty. Right? It was like a final match kind of thing. The ball is going, throwing, but the cricketer is, any ball, the captain is not able to understand how to throw ball and which bowler is to deploy, spinner, leg spinner, off spinner, pacer, everyone is, the cricketer is, batsman is, every ball is hitting 4 or 6. Then it's very difficult, right, to win the game. Of course, if the match is fixed, then it's a different thing. But it's very difficult sometimes to the opposing person to how to counterattack, right? How to face this kind of person. And Krishna, as we know that he really becomes angry. His tolerance limit also gets over. He gives up his chariot and jumps off the chariot like a lion. He becomes like Narasimhadev. How can you kill my devotee? I have to protect my devotee. I have to establish dharma. And he finds a well which was a broken Rathanga Pani. That is a pose he took. And he lifted that chariot and started running towards Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma Dev, he was watching Krishna's movements live, kind of Insta live kind of things. People are very fond of live. Live is going on today also. So, Bhishma was watching the entire thing live. Krishna lifting, jumping of the chariot, giving up the reins and whips. Like a lion is swarming and just taking a will in his hand, broken chariot, running towards him with full speed. And with that gusto, his uttariya falls off. But still he doesn't realize he wants to protect his devotee. His face was covered with the drops of sweat mixed with blood. The pains or the sharp wounds created by Bhishma's arrows, he also was getting all those wounds. He was perspiring, his hair were scattered. And Krishna, with full his anger, he is running towards him. Rathangapani. And from Partha Sarthi, he became Rathangapani. He was driving the chariot of Partha. But now Bhishma Deva is seeing that transformation from Partha Sarathi is now Rathangapani. And that image was like completely focused in his mind. That just see, my Lord, he has broken his promise for me personally. It's a personal reciprocation. The whole world is going to say that Krishna broke promise. But for me, it is a personal reciprocation Lord is giving. What Bhishma was going through at this point, he was going through an enormous kind of ecstasy. Radha Gopinath Prabhu says it's kind of Rasa Leela on that. It's a very high level. We cannot compare that. But it's like that. Krishna's reciprocation individually to every living entity is Rasa Leela. How Krishna reciprocates. Today's world, we don't understand what is exactly Rasa Leela. We misinterpret and we have many misconceptions. But that is the exact thing what Krishna does to every living entity. He reciprocates with everyone. We have to be just little alert. We should be conscious of that. Krishna is reciprocating with us. When we look at Krishna, Krishna is smiling. He is accepting our services, whatever little we do. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. We may offer a small leaf, a flower, fruit, or water with love and devotion. Krishna remembers that. Everything he remembers what service we are doing. So Krishna is reciprocating with everyone. And here Bhishma Deva, he saw that Krishna, he lifted gave chariot wheel. And at the same time, Krishna is reciprocating with Bhishma and Arjuna, both of them simultaneously. How is that? For Bhishma, he is lifted the that wheel, chariot wheel, reciprocating with him. He became angry, he broke his promise. And at the same time, Arjuna, he loses his temper, kind of limit. He also runs behind Krishna. Krishna, what are you doing? You are breaking your promise for me. Don't do that. He just runs behind and so many meters or something, trying to catch Krishna. Stop, don't break your promise for me. I'm okay. I may get defeated, but you should not break it. And how Krishna is reciprocating with Arjuna. Krishna had told that I protect my devotees. Kaunteha pratijani name bhakta pranashrati. My devotees never perish. So in this instance, we can understand that Krishna is so amazing that at one side he is reciprocating with Bhishma, and another side he is reciprocating with Arjuna also in a different way. And at that moment, Bhishma, he gives up his weapons because he understands that Krishna has broken. Fine, it's over now. The match is over. I am defeated. Kind of that. And he's ready to be killed. He's ready, because he had that Ichha Maran. At any time, he can give up his body. And this is the best moment. Dying at the hand of Krishna. My supreme worshipable Lord, who is going to kill me. I'm very happy now. Kill me. I will die instantly. That is the mood of Bhishma. He gives up that is whatever arrows and bow he was having. And we can see that famous picture of Bhishma standing and Krishna is running, Arjuna is running behind. So that is the vision he absorbed at that time. Bhishma Deva absorbed that vision. And I think at that time the sunset happened, conch shell blown and everything stopped. That now we can't do anything. Now it is sun has set. Today's war is over. And then of course They approach Bhishma, how can you kill you? You are so invincible, you can't be defeated. They go to, and then he tells that, okay, you kill me in this way, bring Shikhandi and all that thing. And Arjuna was not shooting the arrows. Of course, later on we know that how he had to shoot arrows and he had to keep shooting arrows. And Bhishma was like really a huge personality, gigantic, towering personality kind of thing. He was very huge and strong. Although he was grandfather of Arjuna, Pitama, he was grandfather. In age, he was very elderly, very, very powerful person. Nobody could stop him. And he keeps shooting arrows. Shikhandi comes in between. Bhishma lifts an arrow, Shikhandi comes in between. Bhishma puts arrow down. Arjuna shoots. So that was match fixing kind of thing. That you bring Shikhandi in between. So I have to put my arrow down because I can't kill a woman-like person. He's a different person. I can't kill woman or somebody's woman-like. So he had to lift. As soon as he lifts, he puts his arrow down, Arjuna starts shooting. So it goes on for a long time, I think, because so many arrows Arjuna had to keep shooting, that ultimately all the arrows start piercing in the body of Bhishma. That between two arrows now, one arrow cannot go. So many arrows. Bhishma also understands that now I have to surrender. I can't. And then he comes up from his chariot or something, and then he just collapses on the ground. And of course, everyone stops that time and they salute, kind of general commander-in-chief has fallen. It's a big, kind of very touchy experience to everyone, emotional. They respect him, that now we have to respect, now we have to stop. We can't fight now. And he had absorbed that vision, Bhishma Deva, on that day. War continues. He is lying on the bed of arrows. War continues. War ends also at some time. Pandavas become victorious. Bhishma Deva is still lying on this bed of arrows. And he's waiting. He's waiting. He knew that Krishna is going to come again. He saw that form of Krishna, blood on his face. His face was wounded. His hair was scattered. And he had absorbed that completely. And then he was just meditating. For all those days, he was just meditating on the Supreme Lord. Even at the time of Rajasu's sacrifice, when Krishna was there serving all the guests and all, he had absorbed that vision. And he was meditating. Because he knew that I have to give up the body now, somehow or other. He was waiting for Uttarayan also. That when the sun enters into the northern hemisphere, it is explained that that is a very auspicious time. Yogis especially, they leave the bodies during that time. When the sun enters into the northern hemisphere, daytime, waxing moon, kind of, a lot of combinations are there. It is a very auspicious kind of time where there is a particular path by which the soul is taken from the skyways. And it can reach to the higher planets. So he was waiting, and in between, from that day when he was fallen on the ground till Krishna comes, there were so many things were happening. Duryodhana was killed by Bhima. Ashwatthama, he kills the Pandavas' children. Draupadi forgives him. Kunti's prayers, all those things happen in between that time. And Krishna was now ready to leave Hastinapur, and Yudhishthira Maharaj requests him, please wait. Please stay for some more time. Krishna obliges him. And Krishna also knew that my one devotee is waiting for me, right? At the final moment, I had to go and complete that chapter. I had to give my darshan to him, fulfill his desire at the last moment. And Krishna and Yudhishthira Maharaj, Krishna tells all of Pandavas that you decorate yourself nicely now. Sit on the chariot with big retinue. They go with very nice royal garments. Yudhishthira Maharaj is thrown as a king, Dharmaraj Yudhishthira. And they approach Bhishma Pitama, who is lying on the bed of arrows. And Bhishma Deva, one dharmashil person, one who is adherent of dharma, is meeting another dharmashil person. Both of them lived a life of dharma. It appears that Bhishma was on the side of adharma. But within his heart, he was always on the side of dharma. He wanted that kind of dharma discussions, heart-to-heart talks with somebody who can understand. But probably he did not get an opportunity with whom he can discuss such high-level topics, because there were so many things happening in the kingdom. So when one dharmashil person is narrating and another dharmashil person is also interested in hearing, for Yudhishthira Maharaj we can understand that Yudhishthira Maharaj was also so dharmashil person. He was so careful about all the details. He was very conversant with all the intricacies of dharma. Dharma and karma are both intricate. We should know what dharma we should apply at proper time. It's a detailed discussion. Maybe sometime later we can. But dharma and karma both are very, very intricate and difficult to understand. What is the right thing? What is the wrong thing? So Yudhishthira Maharaj also had so much understanding of dharma. He knew about death. Ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti yamalaya. When that difficult question was asked, he answered it properly. What is the most surprising thing in this material world? And he answered it very properly. The death is the most surprising thing. We may not believe in death, or we may postpone it, or we may think that we have to think when we become old, right? And it may not happen to me so easily, so quickly. I have many years to live, right? We have that kind of, still we have a lot of hopes. We think that I will live for many years, and then at the very fag end I will do something. No, we should not think like, we should not postpone this. Ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti yamalayam. Yudhishthira Maharaj was telling that everyone is going to Yamalayam, abode of Yama. But everyone thinks that it will not happen to me. They see, but still they don't see. That is the most surprising thing. Death is the most surprising thing in this material world. And Yudhishthira Maharaj passes the test. We can understand how so precise he should have been. He was. So he was having that kind of understanding. Now for one perspective we may think that what Yudhishthira had also had so much knowledge, why he has to go and get some more understanding, right? For Yudhishthira Maharaj, sometimes we have so much knowledge we don't want to hear from anybody, right? We get proud of our own learnings. We think that no. But most important thing is that he is so dharmashi that he wants to upgrade his understanding of dharma. Let me go and hear what Bhishma Dev is going to speak at this time. Even now I am king. Everything is mine now. I have won the kingdom. But still, he, as an ideal dharma person, he was thinking that all this massacre happened because of me. Right? I am the cause. Although Krishna told that it's a dharma yuddha, but he accepted that as a responsibility on himself. I am the king, I am responsible. So many soldiers died, so many horses died, so many elephants died. All that is my responsibility. So, he took it on himself and he went there. And he, as a submissive, very submissively hearing from Maharaj, Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev, of course, he welcomes everyone at that time. Even in that situation, we can see, understand, he doesn't have much facility to welcome. But even just by gesture of his eyes, he welcomes everyone, asks all the sages who had come to take their seats. He's not kind of proud that now I'm going to speak on dharma and everyone has to listen. He's a very humble. Prabhupada is saying that a Vaishnava is very humble in his behavior. He is going back home, back to God and Vaikuntha Loka. But still he's maintaining that composure. And this was kind of, in today's time, could have been like a breaking news, right? Today's world, so many breaking news, wars happening, fights are happening, pandemic, and all these breaking news actually break our hearts, right? They don't join. They just keep breaking. Every time it's just, oh my God, this thing, so many bombs have been dropped, people are dying, innocent diseases and so on. But why this is a breaking news? Srimad Bhagavatam is a breaking news. Right? Because it breaks the cycle of birth and death. When we hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, the cycle of birth and death will be broken. We don't have to take birth again and again in this material world. That is the breaking news. Draupadi's forgiving Ashwatthama is a breaking news. Kunti's prayers is a breaking news because she is telling that Na punar bhava darshanam, if I just remember you, we don't have to take birth again in this material world. So who has a solution for birth and death in this material world? Right? Our technology may be so much advanced, medical science and all that, but who gives a solution for overcoming death? Right? Here Srimad Bhagavatam gives a solution. When you hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly in the association of devotees, it has a power. Because Yamaraj also comes and sits in Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Srila Prabhupada was telling that when Bhagavatam discussions were going on, Yamaraj person came and sat in that assembly. So when he is busy, right, who will do that job of killing people or bringing all the souls to Yamaloka? Right? He is busy absorbed in hearing Bhagavatam. And he is also one of the Mahajanas, by the way. I mean, he's one of the 12 Mahajanas, Balli Vayasikam Vayam. He tells that Bhishma is Mahajan, Yamaraj is Mahajan. So where is the question of death? The death is to this material body. For the soul there is no death, right? So, time is less, I think. So death is, how to overcome death. That is given here. And here Bhishma Deva's passing is why so important. Usually death is understood to be giving up the body, right? Giving up the gross body, right? He has given up the body. He has gone. Somebody, we say he has gone now. Person has gone. Body is here, he has gone. So, giving up the gross body. That is from one perspective, it is the death of the material body. But from the higher perspective, what is real death? His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj explains very elaborately, very nicely, how to prepare for death. When he was detected with cancer, when he was almost 55 years old age, he was not so old that time. When he was given that notice that you have got a cancer, and maybe a year or something, maximum, few months, he got a notice. Our days are counted in this material world. We don't know when we'll get a notice. Sometimes we may not get a notice also. So he was so absorbed. Of course, he was at a different level, but he gave so many lessons at that time. He told how to die. Dying before dying. Before we actually die, we should die. How to die? Because when we just die like a normal person, we will again take birth. Because the soul transmigrates from one body to another. Through the subtle body, it will go from one body to another. And again it will take birth. So that is not a death. It is not over. Again he will take birth again in this material world. So the real death is even giving up the subtle body. Subtle body consists of mind, intelligence, false ego. Even giving up that subtle identity, that is the real death. And of course, completely focusing on the Supreme Lord. Then we will not come back again in this material. Otherwise, we may come back again and again in this material world. So therefore, when Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, he was in the final days, he was so much deep in his reflections, in his meditations. He gave so many books, even at that time. He was writing his thought process. When somebody is seeing the final end, what is the thought process? How we prepare our mind at that time. And he was telling that everyone will have one special appointment with Mr. Death. Nobody can avoid that appointment. We may cancel so many appointments and all that, but everyone will have one special appointment with death. And how we prepare, it will depend upon our life. How we, every day we prepare, we are preparing. We are becoming more aware of that sooner or later, I will have to face that. And when we have sufficient time, only that time we should prepare, not when we are helpless or we are unconscious in a comatose situation. That time there will not be time to think. Because we may forget time, but time does not forget anyone. Time will come exactly at the right time. And there will not be any excuses. We have to give up everything forcibly. But if we have given up will before that, we have become detached from all those attachments. We have prepared consciously, then we'll be ready to face that. So therefore, time is getting over. So otherwise I will die. People will curse me. There are many other things. But of course, we can understand that how Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of our ISKCON society, he also, at the final moments, he exemplified that. He also understood that now I have to go. I established this society. So he made a will. He delegated all the temples and everything to his disciple. And finally somebody asked, do you have any desire? He said, Koch ichha nahi. I don't have any desire. He's ready to go now. So therefore, when we die before die, we will not take birth again in this material world. I will not go to the other stories I had told Kirtinitaya Prabhu, that I will tell some stories of near-death experience, because sometimes we may think that, oh, how we understand that really the soul has gone to the spiritual world, or what happens to the soul after we leave the body, or it is just some mythological things given in the Bhagavatam and all that the soul is taken to Yamaraj and all that. But there are actual case studies of people experiencing near-death experience. They went till almost they saw Yamaraj, but there were some mistakes and they had to come back. So maybe next time, sometime, I will open up that. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Antara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.